Well, hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, IBM Data Access in Less than 60 Minutes. Thanks for joining us. Finding a solution to help improve data access, reporting, and business intelligence can be daunting as there's so much out there. What we have heard from many IBM shops is that they want a solution that is built for the eye, easy to install, implement, and deploy, has the capability to improve programmer productivity, and can also provide their organization with the ability to present the often complex IBM data in a more visual, modern way. We often hear that these IBM shops abandon the project to improve in this area because making the change was more involved and more complicated than they originally anticipated. What we want to share with you today is how with SQL you can quickly and easily jump back into this project. From an easy install to converting your existing queries to capitalize on the work that you've already done, to delivering key information in a visual, more modern way to the user community. My name is Stacy Jensen, and I'm the sales manager for the Business Intelligence Division here at Help Systems. I've been working with SQL since 1998. I'm going to kick off the webinar and very quickly hand it off to Mike Stegman. Mike is our Senior Data Access Consultant for the Business Intelligence Division. He has been with Help Systems for over 18 years and has worked on the IBM since its inception in 1988. How are you today, Mike?
I'm real good. I'm doing real well. Kind of had a funny thought as we were coming into this is the webinar will last about as long as it takes someone to get started with SQL. So it's kind of interesting. It's like, wow, the webinar is less than 60 minutes, and most customers are ready and up and going in less than 60. So hopefully we'll shed some new information to some of the folks out there.
That's a great point. Good point. So we are recording today's presentation, and we will provide you with a link to the recording in our follow-up email. Of course, if you have questions today, feel free to send those through the chat feature. You can reach that chat option by clicking on the orange arrow at the top right-hand side of the screen. So we have a lot of good information to share today, so I'm going to hand things over to Mike. Mike, it's all yours.
All right. Excellent. Thousands of organizations worldwide run their businesses today on the most reliable, scalable, and securable system on the planet, the IBM. Business users, however, have sped up to the point where they want to see and analyze data on dashboards, pivot tables, mobile devices, etc. Strapped IT departments are running to play catch-up to provide the desired data. Your BI modernization project does not have to involve worldwide complete shakeup to your environment or to your business users. There are a few data access or BI tools that install relatively easy. The next question, though, is the more important one. When will the results be evident? Studies have shown for a long time now that the IBM is the best system for return on your investment for all the systems used in businesses. What about your tools? When can you start sharing information with your users? More importantly, when do your users want it? I like that clock. When do they want it? Now, right? SQL installs most everything that's needed on the IBM in a matter of minutes. Our PC GUI interface, called Viewpoint, also typically installs in just a few minutes. Then you're ready to begin sharing information right away in a more modern interface. And that fast process means your return on investment is high and easily noticed, especially by the executives. You can build your own definitions from scratch, which is quite easy with our GUI interface, Viewpoint, that I just mentioned. You can also import existing IBM Query 400 queries real quickly and easily. Then you can begin to add powerful functionality such as prompts, derived or calculated fields. You can include conditional logic, date calculations, etc. A whole lot more. A saved definition can then be shared with others in Viewpoint or in a browser. So how do business users get the data? SQL is a tool for data access and a whole lot more. Dashboards, pivot tables, export to Excel quickly and easily, access remote databases. These are just a few of the features of Viewpoint. All right. So before I jump into the demo, I do have a quick polling question that I'm going to share. So let me launch the question. There we are. So if your users can go ahead and everybody out there, go ahead and take just a minute. When it comes to IT, when it comes to business intelligence and data access on your eye, what's the most important to you of these four choices, right? If you were given these four choices: mobility and modernization, data growth and analytics, backfilling the retiring experts. I always laugh at that one because so many times I've been to various functions and the speaker will refer to the amount of gray hairs, like myself, that are that are in the crowd, and then you return on investment. So go ahead and make your responses for that. I'll wait just another couple of moments here, and then we'll close the poll and begin our demo. All right, excellent. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and stop the poll now. So if you've got in there, got a good return here. So I'll go ahead and close this out. All right, thank you, everyone. So we'll begin the recording. So if your user community has been asking for several different types of information, or let's say they've been asking for a dashboard specifically, right? A SQL dashboard is an effective way to share data from a centralized object. Okay, so you can do that. It's quite nice. But we're going to start off with importing a query. Right? You can build your query definitions from scratch, or you can leverage your time and investment in your IBM queries and just import them. Once you've created that SQL object, you can begin to expand by adding power and flexibility. Okay, so I'm going to switch over here, so bear with me for just a moment. Excellent. Hopefully now everyone can see my screen. There we go. So what I'm going to do, I'm on our SQL viewpoint. This is our GUI interface. I'm going to import some queries. I'm going to come up to our toolbar, File, Import, Query. Poof. We're starting. Like I said, a couple of minutes to install. We didn't show the install, right? That's just a wizard to go through. But I'm going to pick a couple of queries that I have out here. I'm just going to start off with 3, and they are now SQL objects, right? That simple. Click on them, you're in. Now, I can display the results, display them in Excel. I can do a lot of different functionality right from here. I'm opening this one up here called Orders. I'm going to open it up in Design. And you see right off the bat, I have 3 files, several fields, display the results. Easiest way to kind of see what you're looking at, see what you're comparing to, right? Here's my result set. All right, so I have my data. There it is, right from the query. Right, I have this one derived field, no alternate name or column heading. I want to add some more to this. I want to add some power, some more information. All right, so I'm going to right click and add a new database file. And this is what you would do if you're building one from scratch. The screen would open up. It's all empty. You do the right click on the top portion. I'm going to grab the part master here. And notice auto join. Auto join comes in, feature of viewpoint. We've told SQL to join these fields off the bat. Double click puts the fields at the end. Drag and drop moves them around. I can also drag and drop right from here. So I'm going to bring in region, and I want it to be the beginning. And I'm going to grab this other one called CAD3. I'm going to put it right after the customer information. But I'm going to change the title, the column heading, to city, because that's what's in here, right? It's the city information. Now I'm going to take care of that derived field at the end of my display, right? It's a calculated field, but I'm going to give it an alternate name, and then the users are going to get a better description. I'm going to call extended price. So real quickly, just a matter of moments, I've added a new file to get the description field in the class. Now I'm going to change the sorting, right? So I've set sorting for region and state, make region number 1, state number 2. All the other fields will adjust downward as far as their sort order. Real simple. Change the formatting. I want to make my extended price a currency value. Click the down arrow, change it to currency. A lot of times your database has information like order numbers with a comma separator, right? So I'm going to remove that. So you want to make sure you can do this. This one doesn't have it, customer number, so I'm good there. All right. So we've added some fields. We've added some additional information for the user to that query with just a matter of a couple of clicks. A a couple of minutes. No building of a metadata, no having to worry about this. We have 4 file joins. You see on the right, my original data. Yeah, it's there, it's great, but let's get rid of that. There's my new data. Got region, I got city, I got better column headings, I got formatting, I got all kinds of nice things. So remember, hitting that white piece of paper will reset everything back to blank. Right click to add your new information. Let's continue to grow with this one though. I'm going to add a where clause or a filter. Okay, what I'm going to do is create a prompt. So a right click just double click on the fields, region equals ampersand region. Poof. That's simple. And it was all done with clicks. Didn't have to type a thing. Check my syntax. We're good to go. Using the field name as the variable name, it's happy. Now when I hit my display button, I'm prompted for the sales region. Look at that. How easy can it be? A lot of you know when you're in the query, there's some programming involved. You got to get commands, you got to get other stuff involved. You got to make that happen. Here, it's just putting it into your where clause. It could be in other clauses, select, from, order by, right? I'm going to change my prompt text because I'm going to change this. I'm not going to let the user enter a sales region. I'm going to change it to a drop-down list. Okay, so I've changed the text to be select. I'm a little goofy with that, but first type of list you have is a values list. I can list out a couple of my regions here. Now when I hit the display, I get a drop-down for those. You can also configure it in such a way where you can do all, right? I'm not doing it in this particular example, but it's real easy to do, right? There's region 30's information. Same view, same columns, just new information. But the one I like and a lot of our customers like is the DB list. You can use a SQL view definition, or you can use a DB2 file. I'm going to use a file here, so I'm going to change my list to file. I'm going to grab the customer master file because that's where my region information is held. Okay, I just have to tell I'm looking at the region. Now these are regions, just the numbers, but if I had a file that had the description, I would use that file instead and have the user see the description. I don't need any of the checkboxes down below for this example. Now I get a drop down showing all of my regions. Okay. There are other ways you can do things in a secure manner so only certain people can see certain regions. There's a lot of different ways you can do some things within SQL. This is just starting with a query, keeping it simple. I'm going to do a save as because I don't want to step on that original imported query that we brought in called orders. So I'm just going to call this one orders 2. Okay, real simply, change the description just so I know it's my region prompt. Okay, now it's been saved. Now it can be shared with anybody who's on green screen using Viewpoint or GUI interface or our browser. But let's jump over to dashboards. I want to jump into dashboards. Okay, I showed you some screenshots of dashboards from the presentation, but you start with a blank piece of paper, insert a SQL object, right? I'm going to go grab that one we just modified, orders 2. Remember, it started as a query, but I brought it in fresh. Say import, there's my prompt. I choose a region. Now it's going to ask me a question. Do I want that region value to stay with the dashboard? I want the user to be prompted. Selecting no will prompt the user. So I'm going to say no, I don't want to retain that value, that region 40, which is what I selected. Then you size and position the window. Place it where you want to on the dashboard, resize it, make it bigger, make it smaller. Let's insert a second SQL object. I'm going to pull in an existing one that I have out here that's doing some summarization. Right, so let's go to my demo library, go over to I could type it in at the bottom, but I'm just going to click on it from the list here, sales info. So it's some sales information, right? I do want it displayed, so again, size and position, S&P I call it, right? Size and position your window. Now I'm going to create a chart or a graph over this, over the gross profit column. So I highlight it, choose the chart, and size and position the chart, the graph window. Now I like to make changes to the chart here from the toolbar. So I go up to chart and I actually turn on the toolbar and select any one will open up the graph control. It lets me pick a variety of different styles, 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional. I'm going to choose bar. I'm going to go over to style, make it horizontal. Again, Could be however you want it to be. You can change title, background colors, position of your legends, etc. I like to turn the toolbar off. Now, since we are on a dashboard, I can also hide that entire toolbar from the user and hide the border at runtime. I like hiding the border at runtime on a dashboard like this with a graph. It just kind of displays a little bit better, but hey, that's me. Right? You're designing this. You're the Michelangelo, right? You're the Picasso. You can make it however you want. I like to have things labeled, right? What are we running here? We're running a dashboard that I'm going to call Managers Daily Summaries, right? Gives them something to look at on a daily basis. They can run it more frequently. We're going against live data, not metadata or data warehouse data. We're actually looking at real stuff. And again, personal choice. I like the border turned off. Again, size and position of the text box. Okay, I'm just going to move these around a little bit. Just make myself a little more room, like so. Perfect. Now, when you right-click, there's other options to insert, right? I'm going to insert another SQL object here, coming out of my demo library. Okay, put in the partial name, get me the list. It's called my demo income statement, right? So I'm running an income statement. Why am I doing this? Well, I'm going to insert a gauge that's using the net income figure. So I have to have this running. I have to have this displayed in order to create the gauge. Don't really have to technically, but I do really need it out there because I need to have the data displayed. So insert a gauge. Different types of gauges you can choose from. I'm just going to choose a radial dial. Click next. This is where it comes in. Click on the data. Boom, brings it right in. Look at that. Populates it right in. I don't have to worry about it. You can do things like editing the labels. You can edit the color of the circle there. You can show or not show the main value. I like to have it just the way we have it here. There's the color scheme where I can set the different settings a third of the way to make it red, yellow, green kind of a thing. Different types of schemes, right? I like to use this one called Black Forest. Reminds me of a tachometer, right, on the power car, on the muscle cars, right? Back in my youth. I did mention I have gray hair. So background color, keep it white, same as the background color of the dashboard. Shows nicely, size and position, the gauge. Make it go. Now, I do like to show labels over this to make sure the person knows what they're looking at, but I don't need to actually see the data, so I can go to my little data here and just say hide it. I can get it back if I need to by coming up to my hidden data on the toolbar. So now I'm building a dashboard, right? Let's insert another powerful feature here called an action button. It's a button that'll take the user to other data, other dashboards, things like that. So I'm going to put a label on my button that's called Sales by Rep. Okay. I'm going to change the button color. I like to have, just kind of a plain color. I'm going to tell it to run a SQL object. Goes to my demo library where I was last, right? And I'm going to go to, it's called Sales Rep. Open that. And my default here is displayed in the window, but I can actually have it create PC files, create physical files, etc. I'm going to change the font size of the text of the button. Click OK. Size and position the button. I can do a test from here too with a right click and a test, because clicking on it allows me to move it around, right, just with the button. All right. Looking pretty good here. Pretty basic, but pretty nice. I'm going to save it. Now you get another option here. Save as a PC file or as a System I object. Always, 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 my recommendation is use System I object. Okay, goes and saves it to an I. Could be shared then from someone using a browser, SQL web interface, and you can also back it up, secure it, etc., using the IBM I's security or SQL security. If you save it as a PC object, it only exists on your PC, and if you lose it, it's gone, right? Unless you back up your PC. So now I've saved that. Yay. Okay. Let's take a look at it now from a browser. I have this open already. So I'm going to bounce over here. I'm going to go to this is our SQL Web Interface Explorer, right? And refresh my Business Intel. There it is. There's my manager dashboard. Okay, there's my prompt. Remember, I had the prompt on here. So choose my region. I'll choose 40 again. Click OK. Takes just a moment. Doesn't take that long. It's actually pretty fast. It's actually, in my opinion, faster than Viewpoint. So I'm going to just scroll out here a little bit, make it a little bit larger, right? The beauty of a browser. You can do that real quickly. I have a toolbar where I can save as PC objects my data, including Excel. I'll talk more about that in a second. I can drill down because I have a summary level view. I got my chart, I got my gauge, right? I got my different pieces of the chart there. I have my button. Click my button. This particular button is a prompted view. So there's my date ranges that I want to put out here. Pick a sales rep. And now I'm seeing his information. Okay, and it just opens up in a tab when you're running it from the Explorer. So nice and easy. I created this, created the view, brought it into a dashboard, poof, and it's ready to go. Now, last thing I want to touch on I'm sorry, not the last thing. I want to do client tables. Got to look at my script here. Client tables. This is our pivot table. Now, when you build a view, I have this view called CT View. Okay. You saw the view results previously, so here's one that I've created. I have my columns, I have my rows. This could have been prompted. I didn't have a prompt on this one. I'm just grabbing everything within the file. But you can see it's there. It's nice. But I'm going to go and create what we call a client table. This is our pivot table. Okay, so I come out over here. There's 4 steps to the wizard. Description. Choose the fields from the view that you want as your row on the left-hand side, your rows. Right, so I'm going to pick line, family, and category. Double click or click and drag. Right, click next. What do I want as my column fields going across the top? Region and country. Okay, click next. And then the fields. What fields do I want summarized? Amount and units. Go ahead and click finish. And now it brings me into the client table designer. Now I have this one running that I actually have open. So this is what it looks like from a user standpoint. So I have all my fields. I can filter on any of the fields, including the ones at the top, which are in the view, but not included in the table definition. So I can look at everything but online. I can toggle and switch it around, right? So I can look at online, not online. For my store types, right? I can go back to looking at all of them. Let's say I don't want to see the granularity product category. Take it away, right? Bring in a different field like store type to change the granularity. How about territory up at the top? Changing it all, right? Click and drag, drag and drop. This is my pivot table. There's a number that looks interesting to me. Double click and I see the data. And from that data, I can export it to Excel right there. I can also take the whole table definition, file export. I get Excel as an option. I also get HTML, and I get VPC. VPC will allow me to put this shortcut onto my desktop where I can look at the data offline. So I can be on a plane, a train, on a beach, something like that, and look at this data. And that's static data when I'm doing it offline, but I have all the functionality, the filtering on the fields, everything there, including, like I said, going to Excel. Now let's talk a little bit more about going to Excel. Do your users want information in a PC file? Well, you can easily do it in Viewpoint, right? They can right-click on it, display results right in Excel, right? They can do it themselves. They can also save results to a PC file, including, of course, Excel. It's the favorite, right? But you have other options: HTML, XML, CSV, etc. You have those options right here. The user can do it interactively. Let's say they're looking at data. I'm in Viewpoint now, remember, that's our GUI interface. There's my results of AR. Look at that, export to Excel. Or I can go to save results and take it to Excel, same way I did from outside. So you can do that from inside the design or outside. How about you want to email it and you want to send it as an Excel file? Oh, look, I can put this on the job scheduler. Robot schedule if you have it, IBM job scheduler if you don't have robot. Pick the date, click OK, creates the entry out on the job scheduler. Right? That's simple. How about from the browser? Well, I did show you the toolbar when I ran the dashboard, right? But let's take a look at some of the other options. I'm going to go into my business intel. I'm going to go to this sales. Let's go to orders. Okay, I'll double click on orders. There it is. There's the toolbar again. Save results, Excel file right there. You can also do other file types, as you can see. All right, I can email from here. Let me just make this a little bigger. I love this scrolling in on this. You can see it a little bit bigger here. It's get kind of crazy. But there's my email. Say I want to interactively email, I can pick it as an Excel file. Poof, that's simple, right? Easy way to do that, all right from the browser. Right, I can also right click. I don't even have to display it to get to the toolbar. I can do it all right from out here just by right clicking. All right, I can see all of that information available to me. All right, I want to flip back over now to presentation. So, what did we look at? Right, we looked at a lot of different information here, right? We looked at a lot of things. I showed you how to import a query definition and talked about how you can build your own. So you can see how easy it is to get results customized for your users to share. Okay, it's really easy to do. You saw how quickly, in just a matter of, I'm not sure exactly how long I went through the demo there, 15, 20 minutes, something like that. You saw how quick and easy it was to do all of that. And the install doesn't take very much time at all either. All right. So a little bit of homework for you guys. Well, not really homework, but a little bit of a test here. I'm going to ask another question. I have another polling question here. Give me just a second. I've got to present it here. All right, one more question. Anybody out there would like to see more information about SQL, get more information about our tools, or do you want to have a one-on-one demo, one-on-one presentation, however you want to, get more information? Go ahead and say yes, sign me up, or maybe go ahead and start filling those in, and we'll proceed from there. Just give it another couple of minutes to bring in. Okay, not minutes, just moments, I guess would be better. Don't want to sit here for too long, all right? And collecting responses. Okay, yeah. And that should be fine right there. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll now. It should bring us back. Beautiful. So far, so good.
I think we're ready to jump into questions. Before we get to your questions, though, we want to tell you about our June webinar. Each year, Help Systems surveys the global IBMI community to understand how they leverage the IBMI platform to support their business initiatives and really what their plans are. So with so many companies relying on the IBMI platform to run their operations, we thought you'd be interested in hearing from this community about the role of business intelligence and what it means today. So if that's of interest to you, join Tom Huntington, Executive Vice President at Help Systems, and Mike Stegman, our Senior Data Access Consultant, as they discuss the key areas of interest when it comes to business intelligence on the IBMI platform, and that will be our June webinar.
Excellent. Yeah, it should be a fun one too, because Tom's been working the platform.
Yeah, very knowledgeable. Yeah. So we should be able to jump into the questions. I do see one here, Mike. It says, I noticed that when you deployed through the browser, does that require a lot of additional setup, and what type of server has to be set up or is used?
Basically, nothing. When you install SQL, we take care of the whole thing. We use the Apache server on the IBMI. We create an instance of the Apache server. Of course, we call it SQL WI. We don't touch anything that you have already existing out there. And all you have to do is direct your URL to the objects or go to the Explorer screen, right? That's all you have to do. We take care of all of that behind the scenes. We do have other functions that you can install on servers, but yeah, this is right off the bat. On install, we create all of that for you. Couldn't be simpler. Back in the day, I remember back in the old days, you had to go through configuration. Of course, I'm old. But nowadays, we create everything for you right on install. And during the install, I usually, if I'm doing the install with a customer, walking them through it, I usually say, okay, go to a browser, let's test it. And 99 times out of 100, there's nothing that has to be tweaked. It's all ready to go. They put in the right URL, poof, they're seeing what you saw. I go to the example library, run some objects, they're all ready to go. So nothing from the browser side to install.
Yeah.
Or configure.
Thanks, Mike. I noticed we are at the bottom of the hour, so any other questions that we have, we will reach out to you directly. I think that that concludes our webinar for today. Mike, I just want to say thanks. Nice job on the demonstration.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Hopefully, like I said, we got some good information out there for people to at least pique their interest, right?
Exactly. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Hope you have a great day.